What's up, everybody? Hefe Picks here, Alpha Dogs here. We got Corey Covers in the house. This is off the bat. Happy Wednesday, fellas. How we doing? How we feeling?
Another day in paradise. Our Knicks took a beat down last night, but there was some great baseball going on. Excited to dive into today's baseball. We won't even talk about that. Corey, how are we, my friend?
Doing well, man. Beautiful day where I'm at. Plenty of day baseball. I love the afternoon games midweek. You know, I was a fan of the night games, but now it gives you something to look forward to. We got a game here in 25 minutes or so with the Rays and the Reds and a whole lot of baseball to talk about.
Can I tell you something about that? I also like the midday baseball. You know what I don't love, though? Like when, for example, the Yankees tomorrow have a 4 o'clock start. Why? Who decided to have a 4 o'clock start Eastern time? It makes no sense, especially with all the sports going on in New York. Like yesterday, Alpha, maybe you could speak to this, was just overwhelming. I just didn't know where to look, what to do. I didn't even realize what the Yankees score was until it was like halfway over.
Yeah. Right now, I mean,
that game though.
Not in the Yankee game, but at least for New York, it hasn't been a time like this in at least 30 years. The Rangers are in the playoffs. The Devils are in the playoffs. The Islanders are in the playoffs. The Knicks are in the playoffs. The Nets are in the playoffs. And they scheduled the Yankee game in between the Rangers and the Knicks start time. Not the best, but it is what it is. Boys, people are here for the picks. They want to know what we got. Let's dive into game one, Hefe.
Guardians, Tigers, fellas. This is a game that starts in a little over an hour, 1:10 Eastern Standard Time, first pitch. Today on the mound, we got Quantrill for the Guardians, Turnbull for the Tigers. Both pitchers not off to the best starts whatsoever. Quantrill has a crazy hit-to-K ratio, allowed 21 hits so far with only 9 Ks. Kind of crazy. Turnbull not so good himself. He has a 9.0 ERA. I know the Tigers swept yesterday in the doubleheader, but do you know that before that, including game 1, they hit 3 straight walk-off hits to win 3 straight games? Kind of crazy. So they won 4 in a row here. They're up to 7-9. Who do you think's got this one in the morning? We'll go for you, Al.
Yeah, for me, guys, sorry, there is an absolute truck going by my window. I'm sure you guys can hear that. But I like the Guardians in this spot. I'm a big Cal Quantrill guy, and we talk about this, I feel like, every show. But Turnbull's kind of a gas can. It seems like no matter what happens with him, he's getting hit and hit hard. I think we see that today, and Quantrill gets it back on track. He's a good pitcher. Hasn't showed it this year, but he will get on track. Corey, what you thinking?
Yeah, I'm with you there. The Guardians are just the better team here. They haven't been playing like it in the series, though. You mentioned the doubleheader sweep, and Hefe mentioned the consecutive walk-off wins. I think a lot of it has to do with luck. Spencer Turnbull, historically against the Guardians and Cleveland, has been atrocious. 0-6 record and ERA north of 5 in 9 starts. He has been solid over his last 3 outings, but I like Quantrill to bounce back, and I would take the Guardians' pen over the Tigers' pen in a close one to salvage the series.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm with you guys there. I think the Guardians. I think the Guardians take this one. I also kind of think that we could see some runs here. Both pitchers give up a whole lot of hits, whole lot of runs. The over 8 is out there at -120. I think it's a good spot especially after seeing yesterday. You know, I think the second game was 1-0. The first game was 4-3. So it's kind of sporadic, the runs, but I think it's good value on the over today. I'm going to take the over of 8 as my play, and I do think that the Guardians get back into the win column with this one.
I do like that. Before we go, I do want to go to the comments. We have One Lock who's saying, is this an over spot? Well, you just heard it from Hefe first. He definitely thinks this is an over spot, and I agree with him. I think we're going to see a ton of runs here. Let's move to game 2, Hefe. What we got?
Phillies and the White Sox, guys. Both these teams coming into this game 7-11 on the year. Clevenger on the mound for the Sox, 2-0 so far this year. Pretty solid 2.2 ERA. Taijuan Walker on the mound for the Phillies. He's 1-1 with a 4.2 ERA. These teams are just kind of figuring it out still. That's for sure. What do you think we see here? We'll start with you, Corey.
Yeah, I'm going to lean with the under in this one. I know with the new rules, it seems like the unders aren't the play, but these two teams yesterday were Jekyll and Hyde. I can't pick a side. The Phillies pretty much dominated game 1 yesterday, aside from an ugly inning from Zach Wheeler. And then game 2, the Phillies were nearly no hit. So I have no idea who's going to win this game, but I do like Taijuan Walker, and you mentioned Mike Clevenger. quietly they put together pretty solid seasons as a back end rotation guys for both teams. Taijuan Walker threw 6 solid innings his last time out. It's a pretty decent pitching matchup. Weather's supposed to be a little colder in Chicago, so it's not going to be one of my best bets of the day. But if you want to take a play on this game, I would lead on the under, which is at 8.5 right now.
I do lean the under if we're looking at a total. On the side, though, I am taking the White Sox on the money line at plus 100. I do think we're going to see a lot of runs in this one, and I do think that we are going to see Taijuan Walker get hit. We've seen a lot of Taijuan Walker. He hasn't been great this year, coming in 1-1 with a 4.2 ERA, but he pitches to a lot of contact, and I do think the lineup that the White Sox have out there is going to hit him hard tonight. They have a lot of lefties in there as well. So, like I said, I do think the White Sox get an easy win here, and there's value at the plus 100. Hefe, what you looking at?
I'm with you there. I like the White Sox here at the plus 100. Both of these teams are just so blah right now. I like what I see out of the White Sox a little bit more in this situation. I think Clevenger has good history versus this Phillies lineup, and I think he could tame them. I don't see this being extremely high scoring going to the under, like you said, Corey. I think the White Sox can squeak out of here with a W.
Love it. All right, boys, let's keep it moving. Next game we have is, to me at least, the best game we have on the slate, at least on the pitching matchup. Sure. Hefe, let me intro this one quickly. This one, guys, we have Mad Max Scherzer on the bump for the Mets going up against former Met Noah Syndergaard, who's been absolutely atrocious. Syndergaard 0-2 with a 5.63 ERA. Scherzer also hasn't been great, 2-1, 4.4 ERA. Before I give my pick, Hefe, thoughts on this pitching matchup in this game? To me, it's the game of the day.
5 years ago, this would have been the greatest pitching matchup of the year. And today, it's Syndergaard, who is 5.63 ERA, as you said. He's not started out great. Scherzer, 2-1 is a good record, but it's not. His ERA is not Scherzer-like, not at least what we expected out of a guy that's making what, $40 million this year.
I think a little more.
Guys, call me crazy. I'm going with the Dodgers here in this spot. You never forget, and Syndergaard definitely hasn't forgotten how the Mets treated him. He knows his record. He also knows what type of athletes and lineup that he has behind him. Yesterday, we saw a game where I believe it was a really close game until JD Martinez kind of opened it up later in for the Dodgers. And that's funny, too, because if you remember in the offseason, the Mets were really tied to JD, and they kind of thought he was washed. And instead, they went with Vogelback and Canna basically in that spot, who, in my opinion, are actually washed. But I like the Dodgers in this spot. I'm going to take them on the money line.
I like it. Quickly before you go, Corey, I'm going to be quick. I think Syndergaard absolutely shoves today, but I also think Mad Max shoves as well. The total's way too high for me. You can get under 8.5 at plus 100. It's plus money. We're hitting it under 8.5. It's actually my favorite play of the day. Corey, what you liking?
Interesting. I'm on the other side of the coin here. I'm going to take the Mets money line first 5. I don't trust Syndergaard, and after the Mets were blanked by Clayton Kershaw, who historically owns this team, I think it's a great spot for the Mets to get the bats going, keep it early. They don't need to win the game. They just need to win through the first 5. I like them to jump out early against Syndergaard.
All right. I like it. I like that we have some differences in games here. That always makes it the best. Let's keep it rolling, Hefe. What do we got here?
We are going to the Padres and the Braves. Braves are hot. They are absolutely hot. 8-game win streak on the road, 14-4 record overall. Charlie Morton, who refuses to age on the mound, 2-1 record, 3.86 ERA. Nick Martinez on the mound for the Padres. He has a 5.6 ERA, 0-1 record. This is basically a question of who has the balls to bet against the Braves. The Padres have lost 4 of their last 5, including the last 2 in this series to the Braves. Guys, I'll be very honest with you. The only thing that is weird to me is this line. The Braves are minus 120. I just gave you the stats. The Padres are 8-11 on the year. You could get them at plus 100, as you can see on the bottom of the screen. Their run line is at plus 1.5 at minus 150 odds. Something about this line, guys. What do you think, Corey?
I want to take the bait. I don't know how you go against the Braves right now. You mentioned they are hot. 8 in a row. They've got one of the best lineups in the NL. They lead the National League in runs, on base percentage, slugging percentage. And you mentioned the ageless wonder and Charlie Morton. He's not the Charlie Morton that we're accustomed to seeing over the last year or two, but compared to Nick Martinez of the Padres, who faces Braves teams earlier in the year, tagged for 4 earned runs in less than 5 innings of work, I'm going to ride the hot hand and the better team overall. I'll take the Braves money line.
I'm on the opposite end of you, my friend. I'm not taking the bait, and the line tells it all to me here. It just doesn't make sense with the pitching matchup, with how the games have been playing out, with the standings, with everything going on. This should be a Braves screamer at a minus 150, minus 160, but it's not. It's at a minus 120. That reason I'm taking the Padres plus 100. Might not make a lot of sense, but we'll see after this game that it will make a lot of sense. Hefe, what you looking at?
I'm kind of with the both of y'all. I'm taking the Pods on the run line, plus 1.5. I think they keep it close. I think in my head, I think the Braves win, but the line says the Padres keep it close and maybe squeak it out. I'm going to take the Padres, and it's going to be juicy at minus 150 at plus 1.5 on the run line, but I think it's the value for this game.
All right, boys. Well, we got one left. You know what it is. Needs no introductions.
Yankees. Yesterday, the few that watched this game or went to this game, which is crazy to me with all the sports going on, saw Ohtani do Ohtani things, hit a nice little home run. Angels took care of business the rest of the way there, winning 5-2. Today, we have Brito on the mound for the Yankees. He's 2-1 on the year, 6.75 ERA. He had a terrible last game. Horrible. Yeah. You don't even speak about his last game. I believe he gave up 9 runs in the first.
I think it was 7 when he got pulled, but he might have still had runners on base that got banged in. We gave up 9 in the first in his last start. Quickly, I'm going to jump in here, Hefe. I know you haven't given your pick yet. But the question to me in this game is, who are we going to see pitching for the New York Yankees? Is it going to be the Brito from spring training in his first 2 starts, or the Brito from his last outing that could not get a single batter out? That's the question here. And Canning on the other end is another pitcher who pitches to contact. Hefe, what are you doing here?
I'm going to take the Brito from spring training. I'm going to take the Yankees to get the win here. The Yankees need to be more consistent. And right now, I just don't see the consistency. Going back to last series, you lose the first 2 in Minnesota, you win the next 2 versus Minnesota. You start off the series versus the Angels, you lose the first one. You have a day game tomorrow, which is super important. I think they get the win tonight. I think they bring that momentum into the day game tomorrow. I think we end this series with the Angels on a positive note. I'm going to take the Yankees on the money line tonight, minus 130.
Quickly, before we go to Corey, one thing to add here. The Yankees are the only team in baseball that have not lost a series yet. They tied one series and they won every other series. Yes, they did. The Yankees are the only team that still has, or maybe every team has lost a series, but the Yankees says here. So the Yankees are still the only team that are consistently going 2-1 in series. They sometimes split them, but they lost the first game against the Angels. That to me means all signs pointing they will win this game. I'm not taking that bait though. I am taking the over in this spot. I'm not sure about Brito. He was just so atrocious last outing, and I think the Yankees bats will be ready to go tonight. So over 9, one of my favorite plays tonight at minus 115. Core, what you looking at?
I'm on this total as well, but on the other side, I'm going to wait for this lineup to be announced by the Yankees. Judge is due for an off day. He's played every game so far. If he's not in it, I'm definitely going to ride with the under. It's at 9 right now. And we mentioned we don't know what we're getting from Brito. It seemed like the Twins picked something up, whether he was tipping his pitches or not. Yeah. We're all over him. Couldn't get out of the first inning, as you mentioned. And the Yankees actually have the 3rd highest under rate in Major League Baseball right now at nearly 65%. Yep. Meanwhile, the Angels are hitting unders at just over 53%. I'm going to lean that way. If Judge isn't getting going here, this offense is abysmal. It's kind of a repeat of last year. It's pretty frustrating to watch this team. It just seemed like they had nothing going on yesterday. I watched most of that game at work, actually, and it was like watching paint dry. So I'm going to go on the under here. I need the Yankees to show me they got more offensive firepower.
One quick thing, though. It is good to see Volpe starting to get it going. Over his last week, he's hitting over 300. He's going to be a lot in the 1 order now. I know Aaron Boone came out and said he's going to be the leadoff hitter going forward with Stanton on the IL. So hopefully that switches up the mojo of the team. He's a singles hitter. Hopefully we get some more guys on base. But, guys, it is about that time. 4 best bets. Y'all ready to dive into it? Because I am. Yes, first best bet for me is going to be the Guardians money line at minus 130. Second play is going to be the Mets Dodgers under 8.5. And the third and final best bet is going to be that over 9 in the Yankees Angels. Corey, give them your 3.
Yeah, my top three, I'm with you with the Guardians money line. I think it's a great spot for Cleveland to bounce back as well. I also like the New York Mets first five money line. I just think that Scherzer is going to set the tone early. Bats are going to be able to wake up after being mowed down by Kershaw. And I know we didn't talk about it, but I do like the Twins money line as well against Boston. Joe Ryan has been a beast on the mound. Only Justin Turner and Alex Verdugo have decent numbers against Ryan. Red Sox don't hit righties as well as lefties. So I know we didn't talk about that game, but that's my third best bet.
Quickly, before we go to Hefe, I know he is a huge Joe Ryan fan, as am I. We did not go over that game, but I am also on the Twins. I will throw that out.
Love a good Joe Ryan day. Love a good Joe Ryan.
I know you do.
That guy makes it happen. I love that guy. I'm going to start off with Guardians Tigers over 8 as my first play. Start the day off with a lot of runs. Let's get in the win column. Let's move on to another one. White Sox money line. I think Clevenger takes care of business today for the White Sox. And lastly, I'm going to ride Brito. Yanks money line minus 135. Let's sweep it up today. Let's get back in the win column, fellas.
Let's get it, boys. Hefe, get us out of here.
Off the bat, you already know. Thank you to everybody. We'll be back tomorrow.